Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second edition of the Uncanny Politics podcast. And today we have a special guest. He's a former congressional candidate and police officer of 15 years, not to mention decorated war veteran, Teddy Daniels.
Yo, Junior, what's happening, buddy? Thanks for having me on today.
No problem. So I have a couple questions for you, and I think we should just hop right into those to start off. And number one, how do you feel about left-wing biased teachers, principals, and schools?
Well, I'll tell you this. If and you're a young man, do you know any of your teachers' political leanings?
I actually have in the past.
Okay. Well, the sad part is if a student knows which way his or her teacher's political ideology lies, then that person should not be teaching. Okay? Politics should stay out of the classroom. Now, I feel that they should bring civics back to school. I know a lot of school districts, a lot of schools now, they don't teach civics. People don't have an understanding of government and how it works and how this country was founded and what the Constitution was based on. I think, and if you look at a lot of these Antifa people that are being arrested, especially in Portland and Seattle, majority of them are teachers. That's sad. That's what's teaching the youth of our country. That's what's influencing our future.
Yeah, and I don't really, as it directly influences me. I don't really enjoy seeing political stances taken by teachers, especially in 2016, that school year. A lot of teachers seemed angry when Trump was getting inaugurated, and that's something that that's just one example I could see of biased teachers in the classroom. Now, second.
Steve, let me tell you why. Okay, teachers all belong to a union, and unions normally vote Democrat. Okay. Now, I'll be honest with you. I've had a lot of questions about unions. Do I support them? Am I a right-to-work guy? Well, first and foremost, I'm a right-to-work guy. But when it comes down to the whole basis of unions, you have teachers' unions, carpenters' unions, police unions, okay? As long as you're out there working, I don't care. The issue that conservatives have with unions is that unions have become an arm of the Democrat Party. And unfortunately, the Democrat Party has been taken over by progressive liberals. So, the teachers are upset because they're unionized. That's why.
Thank you. So we have a couple more questions. So number two, I actually discussed this in my first podcast. How do you feel about Black Lives Matters and Antifa's strange and violent tendencies?
Okay, explain to me the strange and violent tendencies thing.
Just like in the first podcast, saying maybe putting your knee on a toddler's neck. Sorry.
Oh, okay. So first off, that was obviously wrong. That was dead wrong. And that guy was an idiot. His girlfriend's an idiot. And let me tell you how I feel about Black Lives Matter. Now, you got to tell me how long you want this podcast to last. Because, brother, I can go on. Okay? Black Lives Matter is a complete and total farce. They are funded by Act Blue, which is a Democrat fundraising platform. If Black lives truly matter, if they really matter, they would be out in front of Planned Parenthoods, which was founded by Margaret Sanger, who wanted to use abortion as the way to get rid of that entire race. If Black lives truly matter, they'd be out in the neighborhoods of Baltimore, Chicago, and all these high crime, black on black crime, urban areas. They would be doing something to go out there and curb that violence. Black lives only matter when a white person is involved. And that's the narrative that they're putting out. Now, there's fringes of the Black Lives Matter movement that now wants to get rid of Catholic churches, white churches. I'll tell you what, I will not be watching Major League Baseball this year. I will not be watching NFL football again for another year. Just kneeling for Black Lives Matter. Now, Steve, I was a cop for 15 years. I dealt with it on the street at a ground zero level. Okay? Nobody says anything when cops are getting shot or cops are getting assaulted. Okay? Nobody cares. But a criminal gets killed by a white cop. Now, and I'll tell you this, what the white cop did was wrong. And he should be punished for it. But that doesn't make every police officer, it doesn't make the profession
Every police
as a
officer
whole
biased. It doesn't make every police officer violent. It's just the police isn't the problem. It's those specific people, and just because they're white doesn't mean anything. It's the cop being brutal. That's the problem, not the race of the two people involved in the situation.
And I'll tell you this: there's bad in every profession. Every profession, you're going to have bad people. Okay, look at the issues that have been happening for years with Catholic priests. Okay? Look at the malpractice by doctors. Look at what happened, ask your dad about the Kids for Cash scandal that happened in this area not too long ago. Okay? You have bad everywhere. But when you judge an entire profession or entire group of people by the actions of a few, that's wrong. You just don't do it. And they're monetizing off of it, which is even worse.
Okay, so we're going to go on to the third question now. Trying to move it along here. So how do you expect Common Core, the widely drawn out and unnecessary teaching method, to be handled in the near future?
Oh, boy. That's a good question, buddy. First off, Common Core was enacted by the Obama administration. Now, I personally do not feel that the federal government should have any say in the way that states or local municipalities or school districts teach their curriculum. If a municipality or a school district wants to teach their curriculum that way, then that's on them. As far as I'm concerned, we don't even need a Secretary of Education at the federal level. It's not the federal government's responsibility to do that. That's a state level thing. And ultimately it breaks down to per school district. And same as everything else, there's elections. People need to elect people on a school board who are going to do away with Common Core. And I think that's the only way you're going to get rid of it.
As someone who is had to deal with Common Core firsthand, as I see it and feel, I feel how it's kind of like reinventing the wheel. They use drawn out and strange ways to teach the kids, and then when you bring it home to your parents and they tell you to ask your parents, the parents don't really understand it because that's not how they were taught to do it, and it's more complicated. It's stupid and that kind of.
Steve, I'm going to tell you this. You met my son who's 10, okay? And when he brings his homework home, and when he brings it to me and says, Dad, I need help, I flat out tell him, I'm like, listen, you're asking the wrong person, okay? I made it through 4th grade. I made it to 5th grade. I made it all the way through. I'm not going back to 4th grade because I was not that good in school. I really wasn't. And some of the homework, like what grade are you in, Steve?
I'm going into 8th.
Okay. Buddy, God bless you. Okay? All that stuff I remembered learning in 8th grade, I probably forgot by now. All right? I remember I had major problems with algebra, trigonometry. I hate helping with homework. Now, if he brought home Common Core stuff, I would just flat out tell him, listen, brother, you're on your own. Sorry. Can't help you. Can't help you because I would try to make sense out of it, and I wouldn't be able to make sense out of it. You understand?
Yeah, I understand. And what you said before, you don't remember much stuff that you learned in 8th grade. That's something I've thought about a lot. Not only in Common Core, this has been around for a long time. Stuff that teachers teach you in school, a lot of it you don't use in your everyday life as an adult. They don't teach you how to do your taxes. They don't teach you, but you know a random news article from 1997 that you didn't need to know from literature class. That's not stuff you need to know.
Well, and you know what? You nailed a point there, buddy. Like I just put brakes and rotors on my truck today. Okay? I didn't learn how to do that in school. Okay? Nobody in school taught me how to read a tape measure, taught me how to run power drills. I was fortunate enough to grow up with a dad who was in construction and knew how to do that stuff. I was fortunate enough to grow up around guys that worked on cars and did cool things, you know? And Steve, you know, I ran 2 businesses. And the one thing that they don't teach you in school is how to be an entrepreneur, how to go out and start a business, how to go out and make it for yourself. I think the whole program is set up for society to be obedient. Now, I don't know how it is now with you, but when I was your age, you had to finish high school, you had to have a great, great GPA, great SAT scores, go to college, get your degree, and then go work for a big company making all this money a year. Well, what they never taught you was, how do I go start one of those big companies? Okay? The education system is set up for obedience. And I think, ask your dad about George Carlin. Okay? I think he actually does a piece on this. It doesn't teach people how to be free and independent thinkers. And that's why when the liberal left watches the news and they're like, go riot, Black Lives Matter, this matters, that matter. Everybody leaves their house with their Antifa shirts and their ski masks because they're just being obedient. They're so easy to be told what to do instead of being a free thinker and sitting back and analyzing a situation and being creative and thinking outside the box. That's what they don't teach in school, and I think that's what needs to be taught more.
The Common Core is commonly talked about as being part of a collective. You're not supposed to stand out. You're supposed to be in the collective and learn everything everyone else is learning. You're not supposed to be special in anything you do when it comes to Common Core. And that's something I don't personally like. And me being an artist, I like to express things like that, but you can't, and because they want you to be just like everybody else, and just like you said, they want you to be obedient.
Now, what kind of artist are you? Are you like into interpretive dancing, or what type of artist?
No,
buddy?
I like to draw pictures. I like to draw sketches and things like that.
All right, hey, I just had to be sure. I had to be sure you weren't one of these interpretive dance artists. All right, so all right, now we got that cleared up. I feel better about that, brother.
Okay, so let's finish this up. A quick question. This one should be short to answer. Lastly, do you plan on running for any political offices in the future?
Well, absolutely. Just going to wait and see how things play out. You know, running for office is not. It's not one of these things where you wake up in the morning and you say, you know what, today I think I'm going to go do this. You really have to take a look at the entire situation. You have to take a look at the area. You have to take a look at the political climate. Now, Steve, you know I am a hardcore conservative, okay? The GOP does not like hardcore conservatives. The GOP likes rhinos. And that's a sad place that we are. Even the establishment GOP, they still don't 100% back President Trump. You know, I say there's a big break in things to where you have your GOP establishment, and I call them Trumplicans, Trump Republicans. People who are going to go in like a bull in a china shop, break up the good old boy network, okay, and do what's right for the people. So there's a lot of infighting right now within the GOP, and I do know that whatever office I run for down the road, the establishment will never, ever, ever back me at all. They won't back me. So we just got to take the people's fight on our own. And you know what? I like it better that way. I really do. So to answer your question, yes. As far as what office, we're going to see how things play out.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see. And just one extra thing that I'd like to add on. People were one of the big complaints about Trump in 2016 when he first started to run was that he was so new to the whole game in that kind of sense. And since he had never really dabbled in politics, in jumping straight to trying to run for presidency, I don't feel like that's something people should be judged for. Of course, yeah, and it was years behind the scene of him planning it out and things like that. And he had good policies, he had smart ideas, and that's what I feel like more. Not him jumping straight to presidency. It's more that he was smart in what he was talking about, and that's something that I can really respect in him.
Well, you know why I really respect what he did, Steve? He was not part of the establishment. He was a game changer. He was a guy who actually cares about the people. Here's a guy who's not going to play the political game. Here's a guy who's going to come in and do the right thing and take the heat for it. And I think we need more people like him. I think career politicians are a disaster to this country because they go to D.C., they get sucked in, they play the game, and then they do what they have to do for their next election. They don't do what they do for the people that they represent. And that's the big problem. And I think Trump, being a newcomer to doing this, scared a lot of people because, hey, Easy Street was over. And he put them on notice. Things are going to get done. And that's why I love the guy.
Okay, so that's all we really have for this. It's coming to the end. I thank you so much for coming onto the podcast, and not too much else to say. I'll just say goodbye to the viewers. Please consider tuning in next time, guys, and bye-bye.